The Rockbridge Bass area is a place of hobby farmers, turkey factories, and contaminated water. But it hasn't always been this way. Long ago, Scotch, Irish, and Germans settled here looking for a new place to call home. They grew tobacco and grain for alcohol to be shipped back to the Old World. The Borden Grant of 1739 was issued by the Crown with the intention of settling 100 families in the area within a 10-year period. The earliest settlers were the Walkers, the Pattersons, and the Hayes. Farming was simple. They tilled the land by hand, needing only 1 to 2 horses to do the work. Cows were not raised for market, but rather each family would own 1 milk cow and a few chickens, enough to survive. No commercial fertilizers were necessary. They only needed chicken manure for the family garden. The biggest concern in Rockbridge Bass in the 1800s was securing water to be used to power the mill, which was used to grind the grain. The Shenandoah Valley was truly the breadbasket of the South during the Civil War. It supplied the food for the troops. Throughout the mid-1800s, Rockbridge Bass was a playground for the wealthy. They would come into Goshen on the train and stay at the Rockbridge Bass Hotel to visit the spas. Robert E. Lee and his wife even stayed there in the summer of 1866. In the early 1900s, the land became a little more populated and thus more cultivated. There were 4 old country stores which sold anything from bolts of cloth to medicines to tobacco. This furthered the sense of community in the area. As local native Tommy Anderson explained, soon the freed slaves moved to Gospel Hill, where 28 lots of land were set aside. Tommy says that even from a long distance, you could hear him sing it. During the 1940s, there were very few automobiles in the area, and the majority of transportation was horse and buggy. Tommy recalls a particular snowstorm in the 1940s when he and his family were snowed in for 2 to 3 weeks. He remembers vividly the time he and his father rode their wagon down the frozen-over creek to get to the country store to load up on supplies. Cattle farming was growing, but farmers still had strong connections to their livestock and took pride in them. The idea of agricultural markets had not yet taken off. Today, most of the farmland surrounding Tommy's has been split up and purchased by out-of-town hobby farmers. Most of the hobby farmers here raise cattle that have a low heat tolerance. Often they are found cooling off in the creeks. This contributes to contamination of the water supply, an issue that has become a growing concern for many in the region. The trend of buying up land and becoming a hobby farmer is seen throughout all of Rockbridge Bass, as now only 1 true farmer remains on Walker's Creek. Even Tommy retired to hobby farming in 1988. Not surprisingly, the area has lost a sense of community in the time Tommy has lived here. Now individual landowners mind their own business. The 1,200 acres of land on Jump Mountain that was once the favorite hunting grounds of many is now set aside in a conservation easement, making it impossible to recreate on this land. Although the land in Rockbridge Bass has long been used for raising livestock and growing crops, the extent to which these practices affect the land has changed indeed. Now there are more animals concentrated in this area than ever before, and all of the fertilizer, feed, and waste associated with them is starting to affect the water quality of the Hayes Creek watershed.